This is Marcy Anderson with the Fishing Report for Southeast Kentucky. On Lake Cumberland, the water temperatures are running in the mid-60s up in the creeks. Black bass fishing has generally been slow, but frequent cold nights will bring down the water temperatures and turn on the topwater bite. Crappie fishing in the main tributaries is still a little bit slow, but we are starting to hear some reports of a few fish being caught 20 feet deep using jigs around cover and standing timber. On the Cumberland tailwater, the Kendall boat ramp below the dam has finally been reopened. A few nice trout have been caught on the tailwater the last few weeks. Try using small spoons and inline spinners to target them. On Dale Hollow, water temperatures are running in the mid-60s. Black bass are still in deep water, with fish commonly being found in 50 feet of water below schools of shad. Crappie fishing has been improving. Target structure and channels in the creeks in 20 to 25 feet of water. On Lake Linville, water temperatures have been running in the low 60s. Crappie are still out in deeper water off the banks. Rainbow trout have recently been stocked into the following lakes: Burt T. Combs, Beulah, Cannon Creek, and Wood Creek. In addition, trout have been stocked into Beaver Creek and Elk Springs in Wayne County and Clear Creek in Bell County. Sections of these streams are part of the seasonal catch and release program, so only artificial baits can be used and trout must be immediately released back into these streams. So as always, good luck and good fishing.
This is Jeremy Shiplett with an update from the Northwestern District. Rough River Lake is about 4 feet below summer pool and dropping around 5 inches per day. Water temps range from 62 to 67 this week, and water clarity was 28 to 36 inches. We completed fall black bass surveys this week and saw fish from 3 to 22 inches and up to 6 pounds. Largemouth bass were holding in 2 to 8 feet of water near rock or woody structure. Steeper rocky banks on outside channel bends held lots of fish. Bass were also holding around boat docks that had at least 3 feet of water under them. We saw lots of hybrid striped bass on the lower end of the South Fork, specifically from Laurel Branch to Indian Valley. Cast shad imitating crankbaits and swim baits on points around the creek mouths and on windswept banks. Crappie fishing is fair. Fish were anywhere from 1 to 15 feet deep on rock and woody structure. From what I hear, jigs have been catching more fish than minnows of late. We also completed black bass surveys at Nolin this week. Nolin is about 4 feet below summer pool as well. Water temps are 65 to 68 this week. Water clarity was 30 to 40 inches. Again, we saw a great range of fish from 3 to 21 inches and upwards of 5.5 pounds. All fish were measured, weighed, and released. Bigger largemouth bass were holding offshore in 5 to 15 feet of water on the lower end of the lake. Smaller largemouth and lots of spotted bass were holding shallow, tighter to shore. Largemouth were not quite as deep in the upper lake, and a lot of bass were just suspended offshore, not associated with any structure. Steeper rocky banks on outside channel bends, however, were holding more fish. Discharge significantly increased for several days this week to allow for swift water rescue training in the tailwater. This has affected fishing. Largemouth, crappie, and white bass fishing has been fair, and expect that trend to continue a little bit during the drawdown period while these fish are constantly in transition to the winter pool levels. All of our local lakes are a few inches to 2 feet low thanks to infrequent rain and warm weather this fall. Lake Malone is about 6 to 8 inches below normal pool. Bass fishing is fair. Lots of fish under the slot are hanging tight to the water willow. Larger fish were hanging 5 to 10 feet deep on large woody structure. Creature baits, swim baits, and crayfish or shad imitating medium to shallow running crankbaits are good options. Kingfisher and Carpenter Lake, bass were hanging tight to woody structure 3 to 6 feet deep. Fish soft plastic worms and creature baits on the edges of the structure. There are also saugai in the lake, anywhere from 8 to 24 inches, that represent 4 year classes of stocked fish. Trolling small crappie crankbaits and jigs or dunking minnows near structure may pick up a saugai for dinner. Remember, there is a 14-inch minimum size on walleye, sauger, and saugai. Trout were stocked in Finns Lakes in Litchfield, Madisonville, and Owensboro this week. Trout also went in to Sandy Watkins Park in Hebbardsville. Remember, the limit for trout may differ by water body. The limit is 5 fish per angler per day at Finns Lakes and 8 fish per angler per day at Sandy Watkins Park. We still have fish surveys ongoing this fall. We will be netting for crappie, white bass, and walleye at Nolin, and for channel catfish at some of the smaller state lakes. If you see floats that are marking research nets, please fish with caution in these areas. We do not want either of us to lose or damage gear. Keep an eye on our social media account for updates along the way. Good luck, wear your life jacket, and stay safe.
Hi, this is Eric Cummins with your Southwest Kentucky Fishing Report. Marion River Lake has turned over and is dropping about 4 inches a day, with the levels on Monday being around 547 to start the week. Fishing for all species has been best in the upper third to quarters of the lake arms. Though littered with leaves, creeks and rivers are still good bets for bass and trout using single hooks like spinner baits, jigs, etc., or live bait. However, be aware Barren and Nolin rivers are up with lake drawdowns ongoing. Cumberland River tailwater is producing good numbers of rainbow trout and some browns on those lower flow days and times. Be sure to check out the Nashville Corps of Engineers website for those discharge schedules. Bass, sauger, walleye, and striper action in the lower third of the tailwater to Tennessee is at its best this time of year with the warmest temperatures of the year throughout the tailwater. Small impoundment bass fishing is producing consistent action with spinnerbaits, lipless crankbaits, and jigs. Shaney Hollow Lake in Warren County has completely turned over and fish are very active and available since the lake is 11 foot low. Mill Creek Lake, Spurlington Lake, and Marion County Lake are all still undergoing turnover, and fish are in that 8 to 6 foot zone, with crappie being out on the deeper parts of the lake in about 15 foot of water. Water temperatures at these impoundments are in the mid to low 60s, and panfish action for bluegill, red ear, and crappie can be had with bait or jigs. Green River Lake is still turning over in the lower third of the lake. Bass, crappie, and catfish action will be the best in the upper 2/3 of the lake, with bass being taken on a variety of baits, and crappie are still out on the main lake channels and brush piles. As always, good luck and good fishing, and be sure your life jacket's got your back.
This is Caleb Bentley with the Kentucky Stocking Report. This week across the state, we stocked rainbow trout and blue catfish. Rainbow trout were stocked in Lake Montgomery, Mike Miller Park Lake, Kess Creek Lake, Rotary Park Lake, Boone Tract 6 Acre Lake, Lower and Upper Sportsman's Lake, Cave Run Lake Tailwaters, Eagle Lake, Big Caney Creek, Laurel Creek, Grayson Lake, Little Sandy East Fork, Fish Pond, Fish Trap Lake Tailwaters, Russell Fork, Burt Combs Lake, Wayman Morris Park Lake, Panther Creek Park Lake, Yellow Creek Park Lake, Madisonville City Park Lake, Sandy Watkins Park Lake, James D. Beeville Park Lake, Lake Mingo, Southland Church Lake, Whitehall Park Lake, Beaver Creek, Elk Springs, Wood Creek Lake, and Mill Creek Lake. The blue catfish were stocked in Dewey Lake, Fish Trap Lake, Carr Creek Lake, Taylorsville Lake, and Yatesville Lake. Good luck fishing and stay safe.